to week 5 of EDT 530. This video will just be a quick overview of the activities for the week, just to kind of go through things with you. And as always then, if you have questions or concerns, please feel free to be in touch with me and I will get those questions answered. So last week, the main topic was graphics, looking at the Gestalt principles, kind of looking at them in general in terms of instructional graphics and how understanding the way that we see visuals and process visuals can be helpful in terms of instructing people through visual content. So this week we're going to shift to hearing content, to oral or audio content. The program we're going to be using is one called Audacity. It is a free program. It is available on any platform, so it is kind of usable on any machine and does get used an awful lot for basic audio production types of tasks. So I'll be walking you through a lesson that will give you some tips and tricks on how to improve the quality of recordings that you make and show you some specific things within Audacity that you can do, although those specific things will apply to any audio software you happen to be using. And then you'll be making a couple of recordings and comparing the two of them to see whether indeed putting some of these tips and tricks into place results in better recordings, which is what we hope to see. So on the overview, just generally what we're working on, those technology integration plans. Remember, you should be working now on phase 2 of that. That's the needs assessment. There's nothing new in that this week other than to continue that work. That is not due for a couple weeks still, so you've got some time still to be working on that needs assessment. And as I said, instructional audio will be our main focus. But I will be teaching the instructional audio stuff through a Moodle lesson activity. It's one of the activities available. Last week we used the database activity for graphics. This week we will use the lesson activity. And that will give you a chance to see how the lesson activity works and if it's something you might want to incorporate into your own Moodles as you start developing. All right, so let me walk through the sequence of activities. There is a brief article that you should look over first that is just talking about audio and particularly audio in the classroom and what its uses are and what some of its limitations are. So that would be a good place to start, is just taking a look at that article. Then you will be walking through the lesson. Before you do the lesson, you will need Audacity on your computer. If you have a university computer, it should have Audacity already on it. If you're using one of your own computers, Audacity is free to download. I've given the link here to Audacity's website, and you can choose whatever platform you're on and get that software downloaded. But you will need that software to work on this week's activities. Then going into the actual lesson, and basically a Moodle lesson allows you to sequence content, to build in navigation between pieces of content. So what I've done for this particular activity is that you will start at the first page, and it'll say, let's get started, and it'll take you to the next page. And you'll notice on every page there will be a couple or 2 or 3 or 4 even navigation links, and those will allow you to decide what you want to do next. Most of the instructions will be given in written form, but then most of them will also have a video available if you would prefer to see a video of each of the sets of instructions. But that is your choice to watch or not. Or you can move ahead to the next step of the lesson and kind of go from there. And in that case, it's giving you a set of instructions to follow. You can either go ahead to the next step or go back to the previous step. So that's the benefit of a lesson in Moodle, is that you can sequence content and give your students control over how they're moving through it. You'll be moving through it, creating 2 recordings using Audacity and applying a bunch of different audio effects and so on to try to improve the quality of those recordings. So that is going to be sort of the main activity this week. When you're done, you will have 2 recordings you will have made, and those will both get posted into this production forum. So there's a couple of questions for you to answer. In terms of how to post the recordings, the instructions are up here in the instructions. There is a button that you will use that will allow you to attach those recordings you made and put them right inside your post. And then you'll be doing a little write-up of some questions just to answer about your process. As opposed to many of these weeks, replying to other people's work is optional this week. This is really more about you evaluating your own results and going through your experience. But if you happen to be looking through other people's posts and see something that you feel the need to respond to, you certainly may, but that is not required for this particular forum activity this week. So that will complete the audio production portion of the class. Then beyond that, there is a discussion forum for this week, and it's now that we're nearing almost exactly the 1-year anniversary of sort of living in this COVID world, just looking for you to do a little reflective post about some of your experiences over the past year. What's changed, what's been most challenging, maybe what are some things that have maybe gone better than you expected they would. So just take a look at that. And this one is a discussion forum. So this one I do want to have you posting and responding to other people's posts. So as you get your posts put up, come back, check things out, and see what everyone else has contributed to the conversations. And then finally, as I said, can just keep working on the phase 2 of your technology integration plan. You do still have another couple of weeks to go on that. So there's nothing due this week, but if you do get that wrapped up, you can certainly submit it at any time. So that is the main focus for this week, is just to focus on audio production and making audio materials as high quality as possible, even without needing to spend thousands of dollars on professional equipment, and just starting to build out your Moodles. In the homework listing for this week, I do point out that in terms of your Moodle project, now that your ID plans are in place and you've now had some experience with some Moodle resources and activities, the ones we've done in class, as well as ones that you've been looking at, if you're ready to start filling in some of the content of your Moodle lessons, you may absolutely start to do that. You might want to put some kind of an overview introduction at the start of your Moodle. That can either be in that top section or maybe as part of the first actual section of your Moodle, just to give them an overview of what they're going to be learning. That could be a video or text or however you want to present that. And then using your segmentation plan, just start building out the content. You don't have to work sequentially. If we've done graphics and audio, if the third or fourth section of your Moodle would use some graphics or audio, there's no reason to wait. You can go ahead and start plugging that content in. Also, now that we've gone through that graphic design work last week, you might want to take a little bit of a look at the overall look of your Moodle. There is limited control you have, but there is some control in terms of your layout, the color palette, and so on. So now that you understand a little bit how people process visual information, you might want to use some of that as you start to put your Moodle into shape. So in any case, that is the overview for this week. Next week will be online. We will be meeting in WebEx for our second roundtable discussion, along with some other topics for the class. I will post the topics for next week's discussion probably this coming weekend, so be on the lookout for those. And beyond that, as I said at the beginning, just please be in touch if you have any questions or concerns as you move forward. That is it for this week. So good luck, and let me know how I can be of assistance. Enjoy the rest of your week.